Steph Curry, a prolific scorer, a sharpshooter with a deadly weapon in his hands, his shooting hasn't just changed the game. It has shattered the very foundation of basketball as we know it. As Stephen A. has pointed out numerous times, Curry's dominance from beyond the arc strikes fear into opponents, leaving defenses scrambling to keep up. What Curry has done is nothing short of extraordinary, revolutionizing the sport and setting a new standard that will haunt defenders for generations.
Every time this man's on the floor, you got to be tuned in. He may do something wild. There's a different energy to this man's game.
He came out looking like a man on a mission.
Yeah, he is eating the Blazers for dinner tonight. Draymond finds him another three. 62!
You the Jordan meme, right? I take all that personally.
Get it, Steph. Taking 2021 seriously, guys. 62. And here's the thing. It wasn't just against anybody. It was against the Blazers, a really good team. So, Stephen A., what did the performance tell you about him?
Well, it just reminded me that this is the greatest shooter since mankind existed. I've never seen a shooter greater than Steph Curry. I mean, it's off the dribble, it's spot up, it's anywhere on the floor, it's his movement without the basketball, it's catch and shoot, it's taking you off the dribble, it's spotting up. This brother is the greatest shooter we have ever seen, period. And when you take that into consideration and you just tickle your imagination as to when Clay gets back, the Golden State Warriors will be back at the very least in the conference finals because they're just too lethal of marksmen to ignore. I want to put this into consideration. Steph Curry is considered to be struggling. He is averaging 32 points on 45% shooting from the field, 36% shooting from three-point range, and that's considered struggling. Oh, by the way, he's shooting 98% from the free throw line. I mean, this is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. This is who he is. The first 10 years of his career, this man has shot better than 40% from three-point range. The first 10 years of his career. We celebrate people who do it once. And this dude did it the first 10 years. He is the greatest shooter man has ever seen. I know it sounds hyperbolic. It's not. It is not an exaggeration. I don't care whether you bring in Bird, whether you bring in Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, Chris Mullin. I don't give a damn. There has never been a shooter this great. And when Clay gets back, look the hell out. Golden State is going to be immediately back in championship contention. And by the way, I like that kid Wiseman.
Well, he's clearly the greatest shooter ever. He's a mobile artillery unit because he can go get his own shot, and he invented shooting it from a million miles away, which created even more space. You know, how can you change the NBA? Make it a 4-point shot if it's farther away. So it didn't occur to people, no, it's all right to shoot it from 10 feet behind the arc if you can hit it regularly, which he can, which opens up the whole offense. He revolutionized the game. And by the way, for years, I thought he was not a clutch shooter, Stephen A. I saw it in the playoffs. I don't care what anyone says. You go back and look at the highest leverage moments. I thought, why is Steph not as good here as he normally is shooting the ball? Even that started to change. Even that started to change. You know, that started to change. Given enough reps, he's now deadly in the clutch with the ball in his hand. It wasn't always that way. It is now. This is what I was thinking yesterday. This is what I took from the performance. And like a lot of people, I was watching football and keeping track of what was going on in the basketball game. Oh my God, Steph went for 31 at the half. Now he's up to 40-something. Now he's up to 50-something, 62. Stephen A., there have been more athletic point guards than Steph, obviously. Allen Iverson or Russell Westbrook, MVPs who are clearly more gifted athletically overall, right? There have been better two-way point guards than Steph Curry. Chris Paul or Isaiah Thomas, right? Or John Stockton. There have been players who've done a lot of what Steph has done. Steve Nash. Although Steph is really Nash 2.0 because he doesn't need to monopolize the ball. It doesn't stick with him, and he shoots it even better than Nash. But when I look at the history of the NBA, you take away Magic Johnson, right? Modern NBA, take away Magic, who's 6'8", 6'9". He is a point guard, and he's the greatest ever. But I'm talking about of the regular-sized point guards. Steph's the best who ever did it. He's the greatest of all time. And for all the reasons I just mentioned, ball doesn't stick, unselfish player. who can score from anywhere, who makes all his teammates better shooters. And by the way, he's not a good defender because he's not big, he's wiry, he's not so, long, but he plays defense. It's not like he's not there. Go ahead.
Steph Curry the other day in practice, Molly, Max,
Yeah.
made 105 straight three-pointers. 105
Yeah. Stupid.
straight
Yeah.
three-pointers without a miss. Steve Kerr had the joke of the year when he sat up there and said he choked. He didn't get to 106. You understand? 105
Yeah.
straight.
Steph Curry's rise to NBA superstardom is a story of transformation. Drafted in 2009 by the Golden State Warriors, few saw the full potential that lay beneath the surface, but it didn't take long for Curry to silence the doubters. His quick release, remarkable ball handling, and unique ability to shoot from anywhere on the court set him apart from the start. By the time the league realized what they were dealing with, it was too late. Curry had already changed the game forever. His shooting revolutionized basketball. We're not just talking about a player who could score at will. We're talking about a player whose shooting stretched defenses beyond their limits. Teams were forced to guard Curry from 30 or even 40 feet out, opening up the floor for his teammates. His influence created new strategies, new defensive schemes, and frankly, a new era of basketball. As Stephen A. once emphasized, players like Curry come along once in a generation, if that. And he made his mark with the three-point shot, turning what was once a tool into a weapon of mass destruction. Curry's accuracy is astonishing. His career three-point percentage stands at over 42%, a number that solidifies his place among the greatest shooters of all time. This isn't just a player who occasionally gets hot. This is someone who redefined the limits of accuracy in basketball. Teams didn't know how to defend him, and often there was no answer. Curry's influence on the game has been nothing short of seismic. But as impressive as his career stats are, we can't overlook the sheer volume of records that Curry has shattered along the way. Let's dive into the numbers that prove Steph Curry is in a league of his own. As of 2024, Curry has a jaw-dropping 3,747 successful three-pointers in the regular season. To put that into perspective, the next closest player, Ray Allen, has 2,973. Curry hasn't just passed the competition, he's lapped them. His lead is so dominant that it's hard to imagine anyone catching up in the foreseeable future. Now, let's talk about that magic number, 4,000. Only 253 more shots stand between Curry and becoming the first player in NBA history to reach 4,000 three-pointers in the regular season. And at his current pace of 4.8 successful three-pointers per game, ESPN predicts he could reach this historic milestone by February 2024. Imagine that February, just in time for a high-stakes game against the Dallas Mavericks, where Curry will likely make history once again. It's not just the volume, it's the efficiency. Curry's career has been built on sustained excellence. He's not just throwing up shots, he's making them at a rate that no one else in the league can match. And if we look at his playoff performance, it's equally impressive. Curry doesn't just show up in regular season games, he elevates his game when it matters most. But the stats and numbers only tell part of the story. Let's take a look at the mechanics behind Curry's lethal shot. What makes Steph Curry's shot so deadly? It's not just about raw accuracy. It's about how he executes under pressure. Curry's release is one of the quickest in the league, 0.4 seconds. That's how long it takes him to go from catching the ball to launching a perfect shot, leaving defenders no time to react. And what makes him even more dangerous is his ability to shoot off the dribble. Curry's dribbling is another overlooked aspect of his game. It's not just that he's a great shooter, he's a master at creating his own shot. His handle is as tight as it gets, allowing him to break down defenders and create space, no matter how tightly he's guarded. This makes him an even bigger nightmare for defenses. They can't afford to sag off him, but getting too close means he'll blow right by them. And let's talk about range. Curry has hit shots from 30, 40, even 50 feet out. He's the only player in the NBA where defenders have to start guarding him the moment he crosses half court. His ability to shoot from long range forces defenses to stretch, opening up opportunities for his teammates. Curry isn't just a shooter, he's a game changer. Now that we understand how he does it, let's explore the impact Curry has had on his team. It's impossible to talk about the Golden State Warriors' dominance over the last decade without mentioning Steph Curry. He's the centerpiece of their success both as a scorer and a leader. Sure, Draymond Green and Klay Thompson have been critical pieces, but Curry is the engine that powers the team. As Stephen A. often notes, without Curry, the Warriors wouldn't have won 4 championships in 8 years. Curry's influence goes beyond the box score. His leadership on and off the court has been instrumental in building a winning culture in Golden State, whether it's hitting game-winning shots or stepping up in high-pressure situations. Curry has been the driving force behind every major Warriors victory. His calm demeanor under pressure has lifted the entire team to new heights. But it's not just about winning championships, it's about changing the way the game is played. The Warriors' small ball lineup, their emphasis on three-point shooting, and their fast-paced offense are all direct results of Curry's influence. His ability to shoot from anywhere on the court has forced teams to adapt. And in doing so, he's changed the way basketball is played at every level. Let's now turn our attention to how Curry's influence extends far beyond the NBA court. Steph Curry isn't just a basketball player, he's a global phenomenon. His influence reaches far beyond the NBA and into the lives of millions of fans around the world, from Asia to Europe. Young players everywhere want to be like Steph. He's inspired a new generation to embrace the three-point shot and play the game with creativity and confidence. Even LeBron James, one of the greatest players in history, couldn't help but acknowledge Curry's influence on the global stage. During his first Olympic appearance, Curry showed the world that he could do it all not just in the NBA, but on an international level. His commitment, his focus, and his ability to hit clutch shots under pressure made him an international superstar. Curry's legacy will be felt for generations. Kids in every corner of the world now dream of hitting deep three-pointers, all thanks to him. He's changed the way basketball is played, and he's changed the way it's taught. For many young players, there's no greater idol than Steph Curry. But the question remains what lies ahead for this sharpshooting legend as he continues to build on his already historic career. Steph Curry may be approaching the twilight of his career, but if there's one thing we know about him, it's that he's not done yet. At 36, Curry shows no signs of slowing down. His game isn't based on raw athleticism, meaning he could continue breaking records for years to come. In fact, many analysts believe he could still be playing at an elite level into his 40s. But what will his legacy be when it's all said and done? As Stephen so often emphasizes, Curry's jersey will undoubtedly be retired by the Warriors. His statue will stand tall outside Chase Center and his name will be mentioned alongside the all-time greats. But it's not just about the accolades, it's about the indelible mark he's left on the game of basketball. For the Warriors, the NBA, and basketball fans around the world, Curry's legacy is already secure. Steph Curry has changed the way we think about basketball. He's taken a simple concept, a three-point shot, and turned it into an art form. And as we look to the future, there's no doubt that he will continue to amaze, inspire, and redefine greatness. Steph Curry isn't just one of the greatest players in NBA history, he's a living legend. His shooting, his leadership, and his ability to elevate the game have made him an icon, both on and off the court. As we continue to witness Curry's brilliance, one thing is clear: basketball will never be the same, thanks to Steph Curry. So the next time you see Steph Curry take a three-pointer from 40 feet, remember you're watching the greatest shooter the game has ever seen, and we're lucky to witness it.